Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, once again, brothers and sisters from Africa, all over the world, great people of God. And we are happy to be back again in our second series on business, startups, entrepreneurial skills and growth for African community in Europe and all over the world. So today is another great day. We'll be putting out some knowledge-based discussions. And like we said last week, it's time. It's time for Africans, for Nigerians in Europe to begin to build their own economies through self-reliance business models. It's time to build our own network and our own businesses, our own franchise. It's time to own our own patronage, our own client base. It's time to have our own investment policies. It's time to build our own business startups and value chains of products. It's time to add to the growing economy of Europe and of the world. And it is time also to be involved in legitimate income streaming business. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we are having the great minds as usual. Joining us again today is a good friend, a brother, a businessman, a strategic management expert with 3 decades of proven organizational skill, a lecturer at the University of Malta, Hanover, Lisbon, and a team builder. Believe me, our brother and friend has been involved in so many establishments, and he's still continuing. He founded the social business entity in Hanover, Germany, in 1995, and this business entity has transformed into a green label initiative. I'm talking about no other person than my good friend, brother Stephen, Honorable Stephen Adeoye from Germany. Honorable Stephen, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mark, for having me on this wonderful platform.
Thank you very much. So also, as usual, like last week, we have with us our same friends and brothers, Godson Mazi Azu. He's joining us with those great insights, political analyst,
lovely,
a renowned author, and he's joining us to discuss on these issues. Honorable Mazi Azu, you're welcome. Sorry, you need to unmute. Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm trying to see if I can switch from my phone to laptop. I'm having a bit of a little technical problem, but it's my great pleasure. Good afternoon, everyone, and I'm happy to be here again with you. And it's a very, very great pleasure to be part of this wonderful, great venture. And I hope this brings more enlightenment and hope and vision to our Nigerian and African community in the diaspora. Thank you very much, Dr. Mark.
Thank you. Yes. So also with us is the great man that has so much vision. I'm talking of Honorable Matthew Ogaraku. As usual, Honorable Matthew will be putting out his knowledge on networking and other aspects of business startup. So we're not taking much time. We want to go straight to it. But I want us to note something. Number one is truly there are factors that could be affecting the African businessman and woman in Europe, but we can go beyond it. We can go beyond it and get good results. We can go beyond it as long as we have what it takes. We need patience. We need to acquire skill. Last week, Azu was telling us of acquiring skills. We need to acquire skills and we need to improve on those skills. So today we're hearing something again on this discussion, and we'll sit back and listen to the great man, Stephen Adeoye. Dr. Stephen, go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, honorable experts on the forum. Thank you for receiving me, and I'm really glad that we have such an opportunity to sort of reach out to our fellow Nigerians and also non-Nigerians who are watching us. You see, one thing I believe in is that, yes, they say God ordered our steps, but at the same time, he also gives us tools to be able to serve not ourselves, but the community. Let me just be a bit personal here. When I left a lucrative teaching job, I was born in Nigeria. I was born in Ibadan. My name is Stephen Olufemi Adeoye, and when I left Ibadan, I left my lucrative teaching job, and I moved to a small island called Malta. Malta is a country with about 400,000 inhabitants. There, I found the opportunity to actually study psychology and social studies. And, I just wanted to, bring us to the trend of, my, biography, how I have always been involved in anything social, responsibility linked with Nigeria, directly or indirectly. Not to go to too much details. When I graduated, being the first African to own an offshore company in Malta, the first African to establish Nigerian Maltese Business Association, the first Africans to own a language school, an English language school, and manage it. And obviously the first Africans to receive the Manager of the Year in Malta. Culminate to all this when I saw in 1994 and 92, in April 1992, 2 years after my graduation, that was when I already started, working in the sphere of bringing, some kind of life to businesses in Nigeria. The birth to this idea was not given until something ignited. I saw some articles in the newspaper. The most famous newspaper in Malta was called, or is still called, the Malta Times. There were several articles in April 1992, if I'm not mistaken, depicting Nigerians and all Nigerians as scam, deceitful, and people who are just after your money and to steal from you. Well, I was quiet for 3 days, but it cost my sleep. So I had 3 sleepless nights. And at the end of the 3rd day, I decided to write an article. So in the article, I also depicted those who connive with the Nigerian scam to bring money into the account in Europe as equally scam, equally, criminals that could even be charged into court. Oh, gentlemen, people watching, it was like a big fire fell from somewhere, because all the business community in Malta had one or two experiences in this case. So it was so much a bombshell for me to have made that statement. But it was because of my love for my country. I know that there are very few Nigerians, but they have tarnished in the name of all the Nigerians living all over the world, including the 200 million Nigerians in Nigeria, because of this few scam. So what did I do? I responded. It was scary. In fact, the son of the prime minister was a friend of mine, called and said, "Stephen, what have you started up now? Everybody's now talking about this, And eventually, the ambassador accredited to Malta, he resides in Libya. His name is Professor Abdulkadir Gandati. He was my mentor, I must say, because when he read the article, he said, "I must get this man. I must speak to this man." He came to Malta purposely to meet me, and he advised me, put it in the newspaper, put it in the Sunday Times, which is widely read, and indicate that if anybody who has differences will send their letters to you because you're starting up, Nigerian Maltese Business Association. And, several big people, including the Minister of Economics, came up to support the idea. And lo and behold, we had several letters. And one of them, which myself and the ambassador visited, was a man that had both legs amputated. He was in Nigeria 7 times in order to bring in 25 million naira dollars, which were promised by this scam. He met this scam. And, it was really pathetic to see such a man to want to bring, rob the country to benefit himself. So why am I going into this? At the end of the day, I will come into the idea, the birth of the crowd farming, which, we have been working on for more than 6 years. Then after that, I was headhunted to lecture at the University of the Leibniz University, Hannover. And that was how I came to Germany. I came to Germany in 1994. You see, when I came to Germany in 1994, I was not even given chance to rest. So in 1995, there was a case of the German government wanted to repatriate 22 Nigerians because of the Abacha regime. He was putting pressure on the German government to send the activists, the 22 journalists and activists who fled and came to Germany to seek asylum. Well, a Ghanaian pastor, a good friend of mine, came to my office because I used to work as the career, counselor of asylum seekers in Hanover, working with the city of Hanover. Actually, I understand. I signed that I will not be involved in anything political. Well, anyway, but at this stage, somebody came to me, my friend came to me and said, there are 22 Nigerians waiting here, and they will be deported in 3 days. We were not given much time. That was in September 1996. So we were not given much days to decide. And we all know it was the time that King Sariwa was killed. So obviously we knew that these people will be killed. So I was challenged. I spent several days, not even days. The day I was told was the day my son was born. He's 24 years old. And basically at that day, I had to decide, am I going to use my office now to save the life of 22 Nigerians who will be departed who will be sent to the hands of Abacha to die? And you remember that was the time, that was the democracy in absentia, where Wole Soyinka and Professor Aluko. In fact, I played a host in my little living room in an office to people like, Dr. Kayode William, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, Dr. Aluko, Dr. Ibere, and also Professor Wole Soyinka. That was in 1996. Now, what did I do? I thought, okay, if I do not use this office, let me lose my job. If I have to lose my job, it's okay. I would not wait to see the 22 Nigerians being deported to Nigeria. Well, lo and behold, I called the mayor of the country, of the city. He reminded me, look, Stephen, you signed something. I said, I did. But I am responsible for the lives of my people. They are Nigerians. I will not be able to sleep, Mr. Mayor. His name is Schmeissig. I said, Mr. Schmeissig, if you do not do something now, I just resign, I just leave, but I need to make sure that my position is used to save the 22. Well, to cut a long story short, we had to put these 22 Nigerians in a church in Hanover. And we thought it would be 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It went into 3 months and more. But the good news is this. All the 22 Nigerians, none of them was sent to Nigeria, not one. Number 2, that was the biggest opposition ever outside Nigeria staged against Abacha. Number 3, today, when I talk to the children of those men who were kept to be killed or to be sent to Nigeria, I am happy today, 24 years on, or 25 years old, I'm happy today to say to you, ladies and gentlemen listening, you have a role to play. You have a role to play, either social or business. And in this case, what did I do? I decided to move on and to assist And let me quote Schindler. Schindler said, "He who saved one, save 1,000."
Yes.
And today I can face the camera and say, listen, it is really great to think and to be able to be for Nigerians and Nigerians there. Wherever you are, whatever position you have, if you have the chance to save life or to increase the prosperity of given Nigerian or to create employment, please do everything you can. Because back home, people do not just need you to go out and build a fat, great building that they are looking at it as, oh, this belongs to the son of God. No, no. You have to take responsibility and go beyond your immediate family and go as far as saving lives and providing, opportunity for people. Now, the third area I'm going to speak about is in 2015. I had the opportunity as well, working in a city, to take care of 500 refugees. Among these 500, I just want to say that it's not only limited to Nigerians. But anybody who is to be in danger, we are called to assist if we can. So there were 20 Iranians who are Christians, and they were being sabotaged in the quarter where they lived by the Salafistan. Salafistans are the Muslims who came over, 400 of them, they were in this camp, and they were making life difficult for these Iranians who turned Christians. So what did I do? I spoke to the mayor, and I said, I'm going right into that camp, and I'm going to get these 20 out, and I'm going to put them in our church. What did I do? I spoke to the pastor of the church, and I said, do you want 20 to die? No, let's bring them. So we kept them in the church for 45 days. So basically, these people today, they are gainfully employed. We only don't keep them there, we train them. We make them to be an example of the foreigners who live in Germany, and their Christian principles also help them. So they are all gainfully employed. Some of them have invited their families to live. Whenever I hear and receive call from them, it's always exciting, Now, coming into the crowd farming. Now, what gives birth to the crowd farming? I always notice that there's a trend, there is a thread into all these things. So young people who are listening to me, there is no need for you to sit down idle and think there is nothing you cannot do. You have potential in you. You can think. You can actually create. Where there's nothing, you can create something. I believe in that. Now, what happened? How did we get to come to the idea of crowd farming? What is actually our type of crowd farming? Crowd farming was actually set up initially from Valencia, Spain. The idea came because farmers want to make their products known to those who are not farmers, but they are consumers. So the consumers will then pay for what they get every month, and they will receive the product from the farmers. So it becomes the crowd farming. You all know crowdfunding, right? So in this case, it's crowd farming. Now, there is also what we know as crowd farm, which is, in this case, the farmers, what they do is that they help each other. They sort of like, they help to market, their products within each other, day-to-day agricultural production based on cooperation between several partners in the classical communal farming. So what we did was to merge, to fusion old and new. The old being the group farming, and the crowd farming being new, which was started in Valencia, Spain. So we then came up with issues of how to make this work in Nigeria and in Africa. For more than 15 years in Germany, my family and I live in big cities like Hanover, Dortmund. So 10 years ago, we decided to move to the countryside. May I say this? We never lacked anything in the countryside. There's no disparity between the, living in the city and also in the countryside in Germany. You have your supermarket, you have everything. You have everything in a nutshell, in a very small size that makes life easier for people who live in a rural community. Now, what did I notice in the rural community? That was in 2016. I began to focus on how these people are making it. What makes them to be that very good? What makes the farming community to be happy in Germany? Why did they get to that point where in our community where we live, they're the richest? But when you compare it to Africa and to Nigeria, the farmers are the poorest, number one, and two, they're not interested in producing anymore because most of them are old. And young people are not interested in farming. If you tell young people to farm, they just tell you, look, what am I going to do with farming? Farming has no future. But then I began to look into working with these people. For 1 year, I observed them, worked with them, and noticed how they improve in their yield. One of the things that saddened me was that I got to know that 70% of our farming community in Africa are small-scale farmers. Those who bring food on our table in Africa are small-scale farmers. And these small-scale farmers are the most neglected. Although they produce food for us, they are the most neglected. And obviously, they're tired. They can't produce anymore, especially when you come to a situation in Nigeria where the security system is absolutely bad. People cannot go to farm. So we began, when I say we, I invited 12 experts. When I say 12, I looked at African experts. I also looked at the German who have been in farming business for 40 years, but did not put emphasis on them bringing their know-how to Africa or to Nigeria. What we did was to provide a platform where we can create consortium of fusion of companies that can work with us to achieve what is called the agriculture and the value chain. When we talk about agriculture, it's not just farming. There's animal husbandry. There are so many things in the pipeline, and you have logistics. You have in your community. I was saying, in Germany, in farming community, you have doctors, you have hotels, you have restaurants, you have the value chain, you have those who are processing the food. You have people processing the product that the farmers produce. So what did we do? We pulled together our resources. And if you look at all those in the consortium of GLI, as Dr. Mark was saying, GLI was birthed out of Sukun's First Label, CFL. Sukun was originally set up, I told you, if you remember, I reversed back to what I told you in 1996. Sukun's First Label was actually established as a social business in 1995 already. So it went quiet because I didn't want to go into what I faced when I started my first business in Nigeria. That was a flop. Because as a Christian, I have my conscience. I would not give any bribe. So I hit into that rock where most of the ministers want to have bribe, and I tell them, listen, I'm not going to do that. And as a result, myself and my partners, the Danish and the Maltese partner, lost a lot of money. But eventually, then I stopped doing business with Nigeria. Then I picked it up again in 2016 with the concept of return the Sukun's First Label to GLI, which is the Green Label Initiative. Now, Green Label Initiative, the unique selling proposition of Green Label Initiative is farm to dining table, all the way. So it's not, most of the farmers that we have, when they go farming, they farm and then look for the market. No, it's the other way around. The market determines what to produce. And when you produce what the market actually needs, you are up for profit. Not only profit, you help also the people in the value chain. So basically, we turn on this system to give us, the farming to dining table. I know that I have a short time, but let me just conclude with the farm to dining table before going into integrated value chain. Our integrated value chain basically run into US dollars 250 million. Because we're talking about Nigeria, Ghana, Tanzania, Zimbabwe, South Africa, and we're talking about different crops and plants. So obviously, going back to what I was talking about, the value chain. The value chain farm to dining table goes through the process of one. I spoke to you about 70% of the farming community in Africa are small-scale farmers. And listen to this, please. A very, very important thing that actually moved me to want to change the narrative in Nigeria and Africa was this. We waste a lot of land. Giving an example, a product, a crop like the German produce, they produce about 370,000 tons on 86,000 hectares of land. Listen to me very carefully. The Germans produce a certain crop, let's use onion, on 370,000 tons on 86,000 hectares of land. The Nigerian onion community produces on 2.5 million hectares of land, 900,000 tons. You can imagine the waste. In our paper, we worked on how to increase on yields, how to turn pages in helping the small scale farmers. I'm sure in 3 minutes I'll be ready. So from small scale farmer, you actually encourage them to actually farm and to live, to live, prosperously. The communities where they are, you provide schools, you provide health facilities, you provide all the things that they need. It will be the envy of Europeans. You can actually create a community. One of the German experts in our consortium actually is able to provide the technique to monitor and control the area that the agriculture is taking place, the GLI agriculture is taking place, up to 100 kilometer circumference. So which means the system in orbit has given us the opportunity and the possibility to wipe out any intruder coming into the farm. We're talking about security in Nigeria. So we've addressed. So what I want to, time will fail me to go into all the nitty-gritty and the exposure of, once I have the time, I'll go into details. Now, let me just conclude with this. Do you know, ladies and gentlemen, and people listening, and my fellow, distinguished on the platform, distinguished gentlemen, do you know that once you increase the yield, the number of the volume of turnover increases as well. And the joy of people being happy to be farmers. In Africa, about 80% of the farmers are over 40 or older. In Germany, there's a new trend. Around us where we live here are young couples, young family who are happy to be farmers. And they are doing well. They don't want to do anything else but being farmers. Well, I'll conclude with a note. The crowd farming concept also gives opportunity for Nigerians in diaspora or anybody to invest in improvement of lives, creating jobs through the GLI without touching the earth. And obviously we always send money home. And this money that we send home end up just being used and eaten up. But we'll create an opportunity for anyone to invest, to have more yield, so that your family could also be partaker. In fact, we're even thinking of going into the fact that if your family wants to benefit a smallholder farmer, we're going to do that. Well, let me just to do justice to my time, let me just stop here.
Yes,
thank you very much for listening. God bless you.
Thank you very much for talking, Doctor. This is hearing it from the horse's mouth, like they say. Mr. Adioye is a member of the European Industrial Hemp Association and co-founder of the Suringa company, a cannabis consulting company based in Germany and Portugal. Now, if you allow us, in the live video, we will impute your phone number, because I think some might want to talk with you directly. So if you permit, we will do that. And also, you will still have more time, sir. You have so much to talk about. Farming is the future. Farming, basically what you're saying is encouraging young Africans, young Nigerians to go into food business, go into farming business. And that's just the key, you know, is the key to a lot of things. Food business can never be closed up. Food business will forever live because we live on food. Thank you so much, Dr. Adioye, Stephen Adioye. So we want to go further and more things to talk about. So I'm bringing in my very good friend again, Matthew Ogaraku. Honorable Matthew, are you open? Unmute yourself.
Yes, amen. Thank you.
Good. So go ahead, Matthew.
Thank you again very much, Schengen and the moderator, for this great opportunity. And just like I described it last week, it's a drop of water in a desert. In Europe, we've not thought of coordinating or harmonizing our engagements. And they said information is power. Bringing in a personality like Dr. Stephen Adioye and this wonderful presentation is a very big lesson for us to learn, and honestly, I'm enriched by this wonderful talk. Dr. Stephen, thank you for your contribution. Let me start my contribution from the early part of your speech, which is how some people migrated to Germany on asylum seeking, and just like what used to be then, they wanted to deport them because either they did not either consider the reason for the asylum. Sometimes most people who were coming to most of these Western Europe with the foreign languages doesn't even know how to present themselves. So in this case, you can't even make a case. And most times they find it difficult to get even somebody local to be able to represent them. Sometimes when you even get foreigners, Germans or whatever country that speaks English, it's not as if to say they will come from your point of view, because what they do, what is called translation, not interpretation. Because what they say, what they had you, they try to communicate it that way. Sometimes it's not exactly what you're saying, because the speech has more than just the voice. So having said that, that is one of the many ways many people migrated to Europe. Many people were not prepared to come to Europe. People were not prepared to come to Europe. People came in for many reasons. First of all, the first group of people that were coming to Western Europe were people who were coming, mostly Germany, starting with Germany, to come and buy products and go. Because Germany is where their products are known in Africa for a very long time, mostly in Nigeria. From their cars, Mercedes, Volkswagen, every other thing. From buying cars, they start going for other products that goes with the fridges, spare parts, beyond that. And then it was when it's like a Germany market was saturated that they started spreading to Belgium, to Italy, to Holland, to some other places. And just the way it started in Europe. And while they were going, when they were doing some of this level of this, some of them started having issue of coming back when they want, because when they go back to their country to sell their product, when they were ready to come back, they still have to go to the embassy for the visa to come back. Most times they were not giving visa when they want, put it this way. Some other time people are refused visa without much reason. There may be reason C. I don't say much reason because some people may overstay when they came in for the business, either because they couldn't finish in time, or just like an African who always believe everything can work. They come in and stay and go when they want to go. Then when they go back to the embassy, they will be refused a visa. So to avoid the issue of visa, when most of these countries started issuing what's called permit of stay or stay permit, some of them facilitated themselves and got a stay permit so that they will not be running for visas to come to Europe to buy their product. This is how gradually it started going. Then some other ones are people who came in to study, just like I said last week, and when they were not guaranteed a place of job in Nigeria after study, they started staying behind and then started working. Then some other group are the people who came in from relatives of our foreign representative who came in with their relatives, and then sometimes when they are leaving the office, some of the relatives prefer to stay back instead of going. It went there, and then just like I said last week too, all this small group where they were here, either they married here or they had families already in Nigeria, which one would try to engage. Some people continue to keep their families in Nigeria, visiting them regularly. Some other people prefer to bring them in here. And by this type of engagement, people, others even who are not directly connected to them, start thinking of coming to Europe. And then sometimes, remember, those people who are coming to buy products, when they want to help others, what they do is to get you an invitation from the same company they're buying, so that you come in and buy. There, the network continued to expand, and it continued just like I said when some of the countries started giving what is called a permit, stay permit, and some people facilitated themselves and got it. Most people didn't, just like I said, good number of people didn't go for that permit of stay just to stay. They had it to facilitate their visa to make entry easy. And then in that case, it expanded. The area I want to go today is to go beyond these early difficulties. I said last week that in the Western Europe, just like Germany, Holland, Belgium, name them, they have foreign languages which Nigerians are not used to. Most of them haven't even heard of the language of the countries they visited. It was the first time. And then when you get in here, no matter whatever you have as your preparation, academic trainings, skill trainings, experiences, you get lost because you can't even say your name, okay? And sometimes they even give you your different name because they will sound your name the way they can pronounce it, and then you start answering that for some time. So, what the good news today, just like I was asked to speak, is that there is new opportunities. One of the new opportunities is what still Dr. Stephen Adoye has expressed today. We are Nigerians here can facilitate how things are done in Africa or in our different countries. I'm sorry, I'm using mostly Nigeria because mostly we are here Nigerians, but this message, just like rightly said, is for Africans, because when we start talking of migration of Africans here, it started roughly the same time. Remember, most people were going to Cameroon to buy their products. From Cameroon, they start going to this France and Germany, and then it continued just gradually, we got to where we are today. Okay, when people start staying here, they had these difficulties of the languages of the Western Europe, as I said now, and it took a lot of people a lot of time to get integrated. Let me give you this practical example. In a country called Italy, first group of people, they gave them permit of stay. This permit of stay, sometimes, some may last 6 months, some 1 year, some 2 years, depending. Some they look at certain criteria and give you a permit of stay. And then what is taking me here is to let you know that Europe wasn't much prepared for us. They hadn't space for us. So I still remember that time when, and even they give you this permit of stay, it's still permit of stay, but before you travel from that country, you still have to go back to the immigration office for them to give you a visa to travel to your own country. Yes, when you leave, you will not enter. Then at the time, this issue was resolved. They started giving you multiple entries, and then later it was completely eradicated. Another thing that happened was whenever you go to office, even those who started working or trying to do something with the institution, when you get to office, they look at your what is called permit of stay or stay permit. They will tell you your name, your surname, date of birth, date of issue, and the expiring date. Okay? And every engagement you have with them had to respect this tentative length of stay you have. And just like I said, the permit of stay was like 6 months, 1 year, depending. Then if you have engagement, they give you a contract or arrangement that lasts within such engagement. Thank God around 2000, the European Union came to stay, and the European Union brought in certain regulations that was regulating the European relationship. And then they introduced the equivalent of what America called green card, which is what they called indefinitive permit of stay. I still remember using another country, the same Italy as a country. When they had this indefinite permit of stay, when they get to office to do something, they would be watching at it. Where is the expiring date? And you will tell them it is indefinite. It took another process of time for them to understand that one can be here indefinite. This as well, let explain what I was saying, they were not ready for us. There was no space for us. So the point I'm trying to go now that it is we that will make our space in Europe. So now the issue of permanent stay took some time, and after a period of time, remember again, I made reference that the inflow of major Nigerians started around 1990, when there was queue and counter queues in Africa, and then people were using that exclusive of queue, just like you say, to travel to overseas. Some people even they did a lot of things. I'm not here to say that, but what they were using, they used the excuse of the queue of the insecurity. Mostly the war in Liberia that lasted too long, and then a lot of people use the excuses to get in. And then those problems from that 1990 went on, just like I said, from permit of stay permit to what you call it, to longer indefinite permit of stay, to people start getting citizenship of these European countries. Some people just last, you stay there for 5 years before you do it. Some other 10 years, some other ones as soon as you marry. And this issue of marrying to get a permit of stay created a different form of generation. So the point I want to get here now is that Nigerians, Africans in Europe, mostly Nigerians, are going to the second generation of migration. What is second generation of migration? Now, those people who came in here around 1990, most of them were of age before they came in. So that average of 30 years, 25, 30. And if you go by 1990 to today, another 30 years, they must have children. And these children are coming to age, okay? And most of these children lived here in the country where they were born. They had their primary education, secondary education, and some of them who are fortunate to university education. That simply means they have skill, they have professions made here. While good number of people before I said before, no matter preparation you have, degree, profession you have, when you come in here, you get lost because of the language. Now, a lot of people are enriched with the culture they learned from here, trainings they got from here, education they got from here. Sometimes they may even speak the language of that country as their first language than that of their parents. Thereby, they are part of the system, completely part of the system. And more importantly, being citizens from birth gave them more privilege than that of the first generation that came in as parents from different culture. So this coming from different culture had its own impact on how our people was able to integrate. First of all, as I said it, most of the people who took that early entry stay didn't take it to stay. They took it to facilitate their entry to the country. Now, the ones born here are more integrated here than even coming to Africa. And then, but it is them that also will change the trend of things, because whether you are born by mixed parents or African parents, you are a migrant, and you are a migrant to origin, and no matter how you try to integrate, somebody will let you know you have a route outside here and think of something about it. Remember, all the European politicians, including America, before even they become what they were, When they know there is light towards something, they will think of their true origin. Even this, our current Prime Minister of what they call it, of our UK today, before this election, he traced his origin to Turkey. Okay, his parents, original parents, came from Turkey. He's not trying to be a Turkish person now. No, he is even the third generation of that. So you don't think of that, but you have to go for this. You remember that Obama even visited Kenya and had to look for grandmother. So if you don't do those things, Europe will not count you. So they want to make sure you are whatever you are before they give you the privilege you try to get. So, so what I'm trying to say now, this second generation are better prepared now to integrate and be part of the systems Europe created. They have the trainings, they have the preparation, they have the language, all those things that are the impediments that were holding their parents has been broken. Yes, there are a few other impediments that are ahead. This is what I have just said before. And now, that simply means it is wrong for you to think I'm not African, that because you are born in Europe, whether by your color or whether by your mixed parents or whatever. No, you are. And you should be able to identify. Once you identify such, it will help you to integrate better. Because I said it just last week. He who doesn't know his root, doesn't have identity. If we say that, then it then will be more easy for us to engage in what are the realities and the possible relationship this new or global environment advantages of this present day global environment. The word they said is a global village. Everybody will meet it at its own pace. What does that mean? Yes, certain businesses you have today, you can easily create a network that will make, or put it this way, every world millionaire today doesn't do business on his country alone. He works with the world. He tries to create branches and collaborators from all parts of the world. That's the only way you make much money. If you don't get a network and spread your wings, you can't make much money. So what are we saying? The language they have today is a big advantage for them to create more network. The diversities of culture they have today makes a lot of difference for them to create more network. And then when we talk of this network, just like we tried to explain last week, is first of all, trying to know those things that the world have in common. Try to make sure how you can be able to use the diversities in the world to a unity, to advantage of getting more people into your system. If I should as well make reference to the crowd crop as Dr. Doye explained here, agriculture is not just what I think sometimes it is impressions we have that makes things look difficult. Yes, we know agriculture in our place is good to farm, cut bushes, plant yam or cassava or maize or this or that. But we should not think of mechanized agriculture. We also think of chain production that, just like you rightly said, you don't think of, where will I sell my product? It is those who need, at the end users of your product who think, please produce this and please increase production so that we can be able to have enough for our what do you call it, our engagement, our productions. I also talked about sustainability last talk. Sustainability means anything you are doing, you make sure that something grows. You make sure that whatever you take, you replace it. Once you do this, such product will last forever, and it will create jobs for different sections of participants, chain connections to the production. So if I should go back again, what is happening in some of these European countries to get better integrated? Yes, with the European Union introducing permanent stay permits, they have also created what they call it social engagement after school. So a lot of people now, once you have up to age of 18 and above, you must have to do what's called social service, equivalent of what we call a youth service in Nigeria. And now you see young people working in different areas, from the military to the ministry to what do you call it, social and to cultural activities. And then when you are there and you see people of different colors doing jobs, just like you, good example of a pluralism as you have it in UK, is coming in different European countries today, because the engagement the Africans are doing in or sacrifices they made all this long is giving its own produce. I must not remove this issue that the difficulties are there. The difficulties are there because your number is still, you are still a minority in Europe. Let that one be very clear. However, what will sell you, just like America says, he says, people should not judge you by the color of your skin, but what you have to offer. I think they should give us opportunity to offer what we have. And they remember, they will not look for you to do that. You have to prove yourself. Just like Dr. Doye did from Malta to Germany, he proved himself, and then people look for his product. And then he was able to create a consortium of this magnitude. We look forward to something like that from different other, what do you call it, citizens of Africa, citizens of Nigeria, citizens of the world who find themselves in different soils, and to be able to integrate. I want also to take this issue of working together as, call it Nigerians, Africans, migrant communities, or even people, citizens of the world, to achieve a better world order. What does that mean? Yes, even if in your own place, in your own country, if you see immigrants doing certain things, you will have your eyebrow. No worry about that. But what is important, put diligence in what you do. Put professionalism in what you do. Create opportunities that are transparent. Dr. Adoye said much about fraud, Nigeria being known with fraud. Yes, it has been so for a very long time, unfortunately. And some people did it ignorantly, while some people did it just because they want to benefit. And that, in fact, somebody said recently that we should learn to curb corruption in Nigeria, so that people will not, the new generation will not learn corruption as a profession in the near future. Okay, so things to do to put Nigeria in order are there. I still remember the time Doc was saying this, early 90s, people travel and throw away their passports and then go and make the new one the next day. So if you knew that your passport is not an identity that holds you down, the idea of that, the temptation to go into fraud is so easy there. Thanks when the new passport was made, e-passport, computerized, and then with your digital and everything online, you don't throw your passport away anymore. And since then, honestly, our passports are not picked up in the trains and airports and airlines everywhere. No, it's no longer. Because once you throw you cannot prove the old one, or even if they give you the new one, it still has the old information as it contains exactly in the old one. You don't just go, mostly you don't come to Europe and pick a new passport. You must have to pick a passport that has something to do with what you had before. So that one has solved certain areas. We can put those forward in some other areas. Unfortunately, sorry about this. Unfortunately, our system tried to see a way to hold down the citizens, but the leaders are given, what do you call it, free hands to do evil. Unfortunately, this is not helping us, because if our government are held responsible for all actions of being responsible for the citizens, then the citizens will learn to be law-abiding citizens. Okay, but when we are left unguided, put it this way, and then everybody will do what is called survival of the fittest. And whenever you have a survival of the fittest, it's never a civil society.
Thank you very much.
A civil society is a place where you have law and order, and people's rights are respected, democracy plays its role, and the rule of law plays its own role. I believe now that we are having a lot of our generation growing in Europe, growing in this culture, if you want them to be able to come back in our own society, we have to create a society that's similar to where they have grown.
Yes.
Yes, it is we that are sacking them. So I want to use the opportunity to say that, first of all, Africans has come a long way, and they are making it up. And with the global village today, nobody will hold us down. I cannot be held down. And with the opportunities like that of Stephen Adoye and people like him, I believe we have a long way to go for good. Once again, thank you for listening to me, and I'm happy to be part of you here. God bless you.
God bless you so much, sir. Thank you, Matthew Ogaraku. Yes, he has said so much. Honorable Matthew has given us so much to ponder, how to key into the European engagements, that we are still a minority no matter what, but we can still make it through and become who we are supposed to be. That we should follow the rule of law and we should follow the way things are done. Great insights, Honorable Matthew. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So we're moving on. We don't have much time, but we need to hear from our great brother also. Are you there? Kata Maja. That's the philosopher, my friend Mazi Azu from the UK. Mazi Azu, the podium is on you.
Thank you very much, my big brother Mark, for this opportunity, and I do really appreciate this great initiative and a very laudable platform that you have just set up now to allow some of us to express ourselves and share a very in-depth knowledge and skills about how we can build a stronger Nigerian business-minded community and a strong Nigerian diaspora and positive investment driving vehicle that we can use to help one another to strengthen our business ideas and opportunities. I listened to my very good friend there, Mr. Dioye, and I'm well impressed with what he's doing. I'm part of what he's been doing, and I've been giving my little bit to see how we can together drive this worthy, inspired venture that will be to greater benefit to both the Nigerian people at home and also many of us here in the diaspora. I really appreciate what he's doing, and I hope we all can be part of it and see what we can do to make it work and be fruitful and be impactful to our generation. Also, my very good friend Matthew, I really appreciate your contribution in terms of driving to keep emphasizing on how we get to where we are, and hopefully how we can use the energy and the vibrance of our courage and determination to get to where we are as a people, as a community in the diaspora, to work towards the future aspirations and the hope destination of our journey so far in the diaspora, both now and the generations to come ahead. Basically, I would like to look quickly into six key major things that we need to that I would like us to put in mind to have in our schedules in as much as we continue to drive this discourse all through the period of its lifespan as we continue to have this opportunity. we're talking about how we can help encourage Nigerians in the diaspora to develop a business conscious mind and a vibrant business connectivity in the 21st century, where every mind now is thinking about what they can do to upscale whatever is available at the moment in the business environment, in the investment environment, in every aspect of mankind, in terms of monetizing ideas and innovations. Time have gone when people share ideas and are unable to monetize those ideas. Today, we see people are monetizing every single thing that comes up now through the open space of AI, artificial intelligence inspirations, IT incubations, ideas accelerations. So we see in most developed countries where people are building business incubators where people come together with various forms of business startups and ideas, and in that incubation process, somebody helps to manage, helps to guide these ideas, and to ensure that none of them misses the opportunity of being monetized. And that is one thing I want our Nigerian communities in the diaspora to begin to emphasize more. How do we bring our young people together? How do we bring various existing businesses together? How do we move from our traditional diaspora context of business to the modern 21st century innovative business platforms? You know, we need to go beyond just owning corner shops, African shops. We need to go beyond just having one barbing salon, one hairdressing salon. We need to go beyond just being a cab driver. Because today, we know that the Asians and most Arabs were one of the greatest cab drivers you have in Europe. But most of them have gone from being just one cab driver to owning cab companies. Most of them have grown from being cab company owners to having shares in Uber, in Bolt. They partly own all this new generation cab app devices. How is our Nigerian communities working towards moving from owning one cab driver to owning 5 different cab, 10, 15, 20, and then developing your own business, your cab business industry? We know how the Pakis, the Indians bought almost every, like I said in my previous discourse, corner shops, sweet shops, chocolate shops from all the British, all the Irish and the Scottish people. They now don't just own one shop, they own hundreds of it, forming a cooperative of shops. And they've gone from owning corner shops to owning large multi-purpose supermarkets, retail shops. They've now moved from some corner shops to become net worth importers of many of the items you see either in Tesco, either in Asda, in Sainsbury. So my view is, if these ethnic nationalities or ethnic minority nationalities in the diaspora, and especially in the UK, have moved from owning small businesses to owning multinational businesses through the simple projection of collective and networking structure, which today in modern system they call it business incubation or business accelerators. The Indians and the Pakis have been operating this for long, but now it has become a kind of a business management principle or process in modern business, where you have investors look into ideas or business prospects and put money to accelerate that business from its incubation stage to its monetization and revenue generating space. And so I feel we are losing as Nigerians in this area. I want to appreciate what Mr. Dioye and his team is doing, because from his explanation, I could see that they have built a strength from their incubation process of the crowd farming idea and concept, and moving to the aspect of its acceleration in terms of now working with Nigerians in the diaspora and friends of Nigerians investors to see the speedy acceleration of the business innovation they brought up in the farming sector with regards to the Indian hemp, the industrial hemp cultivation across Africa, the onion farming plantation or cultivation across Africa, trying to take what the Europeans could not produce up to their capacity to get it produced in Nigeria and bring it back here for exchange, currency exchange value chain, and the extra value chains that are going to be involved in it. And this is what many of the Asian investors and business innovators have been working on for years. There are so many things that we buy here in the UK that are farmed in India or Pakistan or Bangladesh or Indonesia, Sri Lanka. The owners of those great farms live here in the UK or somewhere in France, or even in Belgium, or even in Germany, but then invest money with their family back home to own huge industrial farms, high mechanized farms that produces most of those items that are looked. So now, how can we help ourselves to get involved in this new age, new innovation, new business agenda, new business opportunities that we in the Nigerian communities can benefit from? One, I have to identify first, identifying businesses owned by Nigerians in our community. How do we know that this business is owned by a Nigerian? And that is the first thing we need to begin to ask ourselves. I live in Peterborough here, and most times I keep going around to find out what are the businesses run in Peterborough that is owned by a Nigerian, so we can encourage our fellow Nigerians to patronize these people, and also to find out from these Nigerian shop owners, business owners, how we can support each other for growth and for expansion. In Peterborough here, there is a young Nigerian from Delta State that does repacking of oatmeals. Most of the oatmeals we see, we buy here in Asda or in Tesco, is being repacked by this young man who is from Delta State in a very modest warehouse here in Peterborough, and supplies to these supermarkets. And I was shocked when I was told about it. He supplies also most of the African shops owned by Nigerians in Peterborough, in Leicester, in Birmingham, in Manchester, and so on and so forth up north. And I admire his courage and his tenacity to do such a business in a highly competitive market. And I believe by the time we begin to identify such people, because most of them are hidden, they do their business without telling people they are the owners of these businesses. They try to be very modest in the way they operate and relate with people. They don't really engage with the community. Honestly, to say that some of these business owners don't engage in terms of being part of the community networking. Even when they are in their community, it is hardly for most of the people in that network to know that this person owns this business. And so we need to open up. And this challenge or difficulty of opening up is that problem of mistrust and distrust among our community, because people don't want to engage with people they share their business ideas with, and they find out that people they trusted their skills and ideas are the same people going about running down their business and making mockery of their business outside. And so some of these people, my view, try to avoid sharing what they do, the ownership of their businesses, to other fellow Nigerians, because they want to avoid this common trend in our Nigerian community in the diaspora of people misusing that openness and trust of one another to negate the business opportunities that such a one have. So one is about we identifying in our midst who are the owners of businesses in our community. There is a business platform in Peterborough I joined, and you pay £150 a year to be a member of this club. I attended one of the end of year party of this club, and I was the only two black people in that dinner hall of over 520 company directors, chairmen, and executives in Peterborough. Only three of us, only myself and one other Nigerian guy and one other person from Zimbabwe. We are in that club, that dinner. And I was, in my interactions, I realized there were two British men in that meeting that were chairmen of big multinational companies in Nigeria. One of them being FedEx. The chairman of FedEx lives in Peterborough here, is even the chairman of the Peterborough Cathedral Funds, which is one of the investors of that business. So there is a lot for us to do that we need to find out among ourselves. Secondly, I need to find out, we need to begin to create networking platforms. Networking platforms. The British, the Europeans have been using networking platform to grow their business for years. And it has just come out of age because of social media. Before social media, these people have a networking where they engage with themselves, where they share information relevant to their businesses, their investments, the opportunities, where they are, how to get there, and they share and they make it look like they are not part of what is going on, but they understand the ratio in which they share opportunities that comes within the business world. How they can go to Africa, who goes to where in Africa, how to go to Asia, who goes to where in Asia, how to go to South America, who goes to where in South America. They are not going there for funfair, they are going there to exploit. And they exploit and they take their money to buy the heart of the people, and before they realize it, they take everything they need from there. So it's time and age for us in Africa, from Africa and Nigerians, to also begin to know that what the English and the Europeans find a way to come to Africa to do, we have a greater opportunity to do same here. Now that we are here, we can also exploit. I was looking at the difference between Nigerian export and import difference between Nigeria and the UK. UK export in UK import trade balance with Nigeria is about 2.2% as at last 2019-2020. But UK export to Nigeria, things that are moved from here to Nigeria, is about 15.9%. The UK made over 2.7 billion pounds from Nigeria for goods they sent to Nigeria to sell. And the 2.something% export from Nigeria to the UK are mainly from the oil export, nothing else. So you could see how they go to Nigeria, find out what we need, sell to us. But we are here, we don't find out what do they need that we can bring here and balance that trade equally. So is the networking of the Nigerian community has to grow stronger. I know that over the years they have created Nigerian British Business Forum here, but then sometimes these forums are talk shows. We have the UK Nigerian Trade Investment Forum, we have the Nigerian London Business Forum, we have the Nigerian UK Business Investment Forum, we have we have the Nigerian West Midlands Business Forum, and so many of them like that. But when you look at the index or look at the data of the trade generated or investment generated by these platforms in terms of their engagement, you realize that most of these times these forums have been a talk show where people bring people to discuss and nothing happens. And so we need to re-engineer the existing platforms or create ones that are going to generate more sensible and reasonable economic difference as we grow our presence in our diaspora community. Setting up incubators and accelerators. We need to, the first business incubator that was set up in the UK here was set up in Cambridge in 1987 or so, which was one of the first business incubating platform that helped to accelerate the kind of businesses, innovations we have in the UK today. And that's why most of the innovations, highly international renowned innovations from the UK, all emanated from companies and businesses in the Cambridge and Cambridgeshire area, including here in Peterborough. Even where I'm running my office from in Peterborough here now is run by a business incubating platform called the Future Business Innovation Center. So you can see how the Europeans and the British are able to guide their younger ones. The level of startup here, even here in Peterborough where I'm living, is regarded as one of the largest startup city in the UK. They are going after London. When you look at the record in London, the next highest startup businesses in the UK is here in Peterborough. The rate at which young people are developing so many things is amazing and beyond imagination at some point. And so, reason being why the British government has pumped in over about 600 million pounds to guide the establishment of one of the first technology university in the UK here in Peterborough, which is expected to take off by autumn 2022. It's going to be only centered on innovations, engineering innovations. How can UK go back to being the one of the greatest countries to develop any engineering or software or whatever that that will be demanded and required anywhere in the world. And so it is one of those things we Africans and Nigerians should be able to look into. Encouraging patronage. Encouraging patronage. I said this last time in my discussion. Is very important. It's very important if we want to grow our businesses, if we want to sustain our businesses, if we want to strengthen our business ventures in the community, in the diaspora, for future growth. We need to encourage patronage. And how do we encourage patronage? We can only encourage patronage by the time we identify the businesses, we are in network, and then there are people ready to help support those businesses, and then there are people who are willing to put their money in the business to make it stand and grow, and then by then we are able to know that this business is belonging to a Nigerian, and we cannot let it close down. We cannot let this business fall or collapse. And so patronizing it means if there are 3 businesses around and selling all the same thing, and one of them is a Nigerian owned, patronize the Nigerian one. And if his prices are not competitive to the others, encourage him to make his price competitive, rather than going to the Asian shop and then telling the Asian shop man, the Nigerian man is not serious. We are buying this plantain for 3 for £1. He's selling his own 2 for £1. He's not ready. No, you are already giving the Asian man impetus to believe that he's got the other man's customers, and they can't go back to him. And so we need to rather encourage our African business owners to be competitive. If we go to a Nigerian solicitor and he's charging £100 to be able to open a file for you, and you say it's too expensive because the Indian man or the Pakistan man or the European man is charging you £50 to open a file, then we are not willing or prepared to make that Nigerian solicitor be relevant and competitive in the legal sector. We can only sit down and encourage one another, look at what others are doing and are doing better, and improve in it in our own community, and sustain our service providers, such as we sustain our goods providers, because these are 2 markets. We have 2 markets. One of them is those who provide goods that we buy for our household use, and the other is the ones that provide the services that we can the services that we will need to be able to keep our daily activities moving, such as the solicitors, such as the accountants, such as doctors or GPs, such as business consultants and advisors. We have so many of them. We have so many of Nigerians now opening up gradually businesses and offices of this nature, but how many of us are patronizing them? We have over 300 and something thousand Nigerians, official figure by the British government in the UK. And if we have such, and we have less than 100 solicitors, 100 accountants running accounting or legal offices in the UK, it is not encouraging. Some of them have left because nobody is patronizing them. Some of them have gone back. There are some people, they can't practice legal profession because there's no enough patronage. They've gone into social work. They've gone into other type of work engagement in order to sustain themselves. There are so many accountants that cannot continue running their accountancy firm because patronage is not encouraging, and as such they are doing 3 odd jobs in order to keep themselves on. So we need to do this area very well. Increase healthy competition for growth, patronizing our businesses our brothers and sisters that run other types of businesses. We help them to keep a healthy competitive environment with all the other competitors in the business. Establishing, number 6, and finally, establishing common investment vehicle. Establishing a common investment vehicle. This is another area where we are lacking, where the likes of the Jews, the likes of Indians, the likes of the Chinese, the likes of the Pakistanis, the likes of even Ghanaians now, even the Ghanaians are beginning to develop common investment vehicles where people lob money together to help sustain their businesses in the community, and also put money together for what were the new investment terminology that is now gradually being used in most writings and in most literatures, what they call the diaspora direct investment. Diaspora direct, we all are aware, we only know about foreign direct investment, but nobody is talking about the diaspora direct investment. Because of what? Because we are only concerned about this remittance. Everybody go to Western Union, go to this app, go to that app, send 200 pounds, 50 pounds. By the time you send this money, there is no value attached to the money you are sending, because you are sending it to wolves who are using it to benefit their stomach and their own energy. Whereas you that is sending that money cannot write down the value of the money in return that you have been sending. So and this is how the Indians were able to bring funds together to establish the Bombay Silicon City. The Silicon Valley in Bombay was not established by one man, came up overnight. It came up because some great guys put money together in a lab and invested in what today we call the Silicon Valley in Bombay. Same thing in the Chinese diasporas. Same thing that is happening in Rwanda as we speak at the moment. Same thing that happened in Kenya. I mean, we as Nigerians cannot be left behind in coming up with, and I have said this many times, and I keep saying it all the time, we should not allow politicians and politics to rob away the honest opportunity that we the diasporans can do as an entity without bringing the Nigerian political element or sentiment into it. If the diasporans in our numbers can be honest and truthful to one another and trust a selected few who will manage this kind of diaspora portfolio or diaspora fund, and every Nigerian put in $10, and we use a relative conservative figure of 10 million Nigerians in the diaspora. If we put $10, even though if it is only once or every month, the money that fund will generate is going to supersede whatever amount of money Nigeria is generating from selling oil in a year. But how do we get to this? Because if the likes of the Jewish people can get to this point where they put money together like this and build Jerusalem and build Tel Aviv, the houses you see that they are building in Israel today are built by common funds, and people are giving homes. You take home and you pay on a gradual basis. Nobody goes and buy homes or houses outright in the whole of Israel, because the construction going on there is a common fund. Same going on in many other countries where their diasporas have come to understand the power and the strength of the diaspora in changing the dynamics and the dynamics of the dynamics and the consciousness of development and investment in their homeland country. And so also we can do that here. Even here we have Indians and Pakistan in the UK here that buy houses and then give away to their people, who now pay in a very small instrumental payment to those community associations or network body. So these 6 key things I have mentioned here is very vital for us in our communities, both in the UK and Europe, to begin to work with if we really want to prove that we are ready and prepared to own businesses in the diaspora, be healthily competitive with other ethnic groups in the diaspora, and also be beneficiary to our diasporan community as a whole in the diaspora. I think we need to begin to engage more and discuss more and put more action to our talking than talking without no actions.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Words cannot express how I feel here, ladies and gentlemen. You have done justice to these issues that are very vital to our community. I want to thank you very much, Honorable Mazi Azu, Kata and Maja founder. Thank you. You gave those highlights, 6 points. It was jotted down. What we are doing here will go viral. By tomorrow, you all be hearing so much about it because you have given good insights into how to begin. We are coming back next week, but next week we are coming for questions because there are questions for every one of you, and we need to answer those questions. So I want to say merci beaucoup to my big brother, Dr. Stephen Adeoye of Green Laban Initiative. Thank you for that wonderful insight into the importance of crowd farming. Farming obviously there's no much we can say. I mean, one can't emphasize more on farming. It's just life. Farming business is the future. Farming is a totality of what makes up human beings. So nobody goes into farming and goes bankrupt unless it's not well arranged. And like my friend Matthew said, there are many aspects to it. Mechanized farming, different aspects to farming. And so people think it's just that plant corn and plant cassava and that's all. There's so much aspect to it. And you have brought out those highlights to us. So we are coming back to have some questions for you. And I also want to thank Matthew Ogaraku, the great man that understands the importance of networking in the African community. You have said it all. You have all given us an insight into how it should begin. And believe me, soon you'll be hearing some news going around. Young men and women, Nigerians all over Europe and all over the world will begin to realize the importance of becoming their own bosses, their own self-made business people. Thank you so much. I thank you all once again. Please be there when we ring the bell again. Be there for us. We want to hear more from you. We want to hear more from you, Mr. Steven. We want to hear more from you, Matthew, and obviously the Kata and Maja great man. So I leave you all with, we can't go further so that we work with the timeline, the time given. So I leave you with the words of appreciation and thank you, and hope you all also continue to excel in your endeavors, in your various business endeavors. And let's show our Nigerian community in Europe that it can be done. Yes, it can be done. They can be business people. They can become entrepreneurs. They can be small business people that grows and grow. And also take off this notion, like Matthew said, of thinking scamming and fraud is the way. We are better than that. In fact, in Europe, that was what I initially noticed. So many Nigerians were into, they think it's a way of life, you know, Yahoo business, this whole thing. And with that knowledge they have, they don't know that they can put it into something more productive, something godly, something that one will not be ashamed of. Everybody was doing that computer thing of Yahoo, and it took us nowhere. So now it's time to get it right. And you guys have said it all. Thank you so much. I leave you all to the great evening. Have a beautiful Wednesday evening and see you next week when we knock. God bless you, sirs. Bye-bye. Thank you.